around a 4 or 5% move on ADA on the short term. You can see it there. In this video, I want to break down that move, specifically how it ties into the macro and potentially this long-term macro shift from bear to bull, and why this move is so important. I'm going to start here on the monthly chart. Before I do, everybody, I just want to say I realize it's a 4-5% move as I record this video. It's nothing crazy. I'm not sitting here saying the bulls are here, bull market confirmed, any of that. But every time we get moves like this, and this one specifically, if we look at this move, this is actually the biggest multi-month move we've seen with Cardano, and I want to explain why that is and why it's important. But when we're looking at these cycles and the macro cycles, and we're waiting for a bear market to end, and we're waiting for that bull market to start, this change, this shift, it's going to start. I don't know if it's this time on this 6-hour chart. It's going to start probably with something like this. And this is why I track these things, because that macro shift from bear to bull, it's going to start with something like that. So we're going to track this move closely, and we want to start here on the monthly. What I want to point out is this. If you look at this monthly chart, so far it's a green monthly candle, but we're only a few days in. There's still 27 days left of this monthly candle. But looking back, this entire bear market, there has been 1-2 green candles this entire time. If you're an ADA holder, that's just straight up perseverance, and this is what bear markets are made of. But what I want to point out on this monthly chart is this. If you look at the last bear market, there was 1-2 green candles, and that third green candle actually marked the bottom of the bear market for Cardano. And so we have a potential green candle, right? Every month is a potential green candle. And this month, I really want to just track what ADA does with this green candle and how it closes, because it could be very significant in the macro trend of Cardano. Want to point out, this is S&P 500. We have to keep a close eye on traditional markets and equity markets, because what they do here correlates with what crypto is going to do. It's not ADA following Bitcoin. It's ADA and Bitcoin following traditional markets. So let's see when we start getting that really bullish confirmation on equity markets. So that's going to have a lot to do with what we see here. Now, going to the weekly chart, there's actually something promising happening on the weekly, and I want to discuss that right after we discuss what is going on the short term. So on the short term, you can see ADA trading around 26 cents. It's just crazy to say that, 26 cents. And if you look back, the last time ADA had kind of a move on the 6-hour like this was back here, really. I would say 11%, and this was back in November. That's not really multi-month, but what is multi-month is closer to right here, this move back here. This was a 12%, 13% move on ADA, and you can see that big green candle. It's significantly similar to what's happening here. It doesn't look as strong right now, but the reason why it's similar is because ADA right now is doing something it did right here back in October. And as we start zooming out on the charts, this is where it gets important. The daily 20-day moving average is what we want to see. A nice move through the daily. And we just got it, right? So here's a 20-day moving average in green. And here's that October move that we just looked at on the 6-hour, a 20-day moving average. You can see in December kind of tested the 20-day, but these moves right here, 1 and 2, kind of an explosive move through that 20-day moving average. Now, when we start zooming out on these charts, we talk about the 20-day in green and the 50-day in blue. These are the areas where just this entire bear market, I talk about it a lot, just ADA just sees resistance below. It fails to stay above anytime it even tests it, and that's not what we want to see. We want to see bull market type of moves, which is support, higher highs, higher lows, above all of those moving averages, and the opposite has been the case. So anytime we get a move above the 20-day, it's, for me, I just start paying attention because I want to see what happens next. But here's where we have to start being careful, because we still are in a bear market, because we kind of are reliant on equity markets over here. And so we have this move, the 20-day moving average. That's not, and I repeat, that's, to me, that's not a bullish confirmation of any type of longer term reversal. But the way this ties into the weeklies, it gets interesting. So let's track this. Here's the daily move above the 20-day. We see it on the 6-hour right here. And there's 2 areas of concern for me. Number one is this. We have a potential setup. If you look at this, it's actually kind of even a inverse head and shoulders, left shoulder, head. Right now, the concern would be, well, if this is a speculatively inverse head and shoulders, there could be resistance right here as I do this video. And this is something I'll be tracking on the very short term today, throughout the day, hour by hour, kind of just tracking, is ADA breaking above this speculative neckline? Because if not, we might see resistance kind of come back down and then retest it at a later date, right? Retest that neckline. Now, if ADA did that, the question will be, is there any support at the 20-day moving average? And there's not a lot of space. It's like 25.5 cents just about for ADA to test this 20-day moving average if it comes back down. So first things first, on the daily, we want to see this daily candle close nicely above the 20-day moving average. We don't want to see it kind of fall back below and even just this huge wick on the daily. So the next 9 hours or so, kind of important, and this is what I'll be watching. And the other area of concern is this. If ADA did get a breakout, right? So ADA gets the breakout and there is no even inverse head and shoulders. Maybe inverse head and shoulders sets up, maybe it doesn't, but either way, gets the breakout kind of to like a 30-cent target area right here. So it's looking nice. ADA's really cruising. You see the headlines are just positive about ADA. ADA up for a total 20+%. The concern comes because on the daily chart, even if ADA made a move like that, right at that 29-30 cent area is this, the blue line, the 50-day moving average. So all of these gains, and ADA still has this huge area of resistance. And look what ADA has been doing at that area of resistance this entire bear market. Here's back in October, November, resistance, failure. Here's back here in September, failure. Finally, we did get this cross in July, 20-day above the 50, but what was it? It was failure at the 20. So these moving averages, they've just proven to be this area of resistance and this area, this magnetic bearish area that ADA has had trouble crossing. So I'm not really getting too bullish even in the midterm until ADA just breaks the 50-day and gets a lot of separation above the 50-day moving average. That's when I start getting bearish, because on the weekly, that's where things start really turning around. Could January lend itself to that type of play out? Absolutely. That's why we're going to track it. But I would say I'm being very careful in that regard with these moves to the upside. I'm optimistic, but I'm being careful. Now, here's where things get interesting on the weekly chart, everybody. So we're kind of analyzing on the daily, even on the 6 hour, this potential move, even the move so far. We've already established it's kind of significant from a multi-month perspective. And if we start zooming out here on the weekly, here's where things get very interesting. This move that's happening right now, notice where this RSI is bouncing off of. RSI, and this is a slower moving momentum oscillator right now as this is happening, bouncing off of the lowest level that ADA has ever been. That's significant, especially when we're trying to put in these bear market lows and these bear market reversals. This is the most oversold. This is the most undervalued ADA has ever been. And so when we look at that, and then we go over here with this actual current move that we're in right now, we look at the stock RSI, quicker moving momentum oscillator. Check this out. Same type of deal, just we're in this oversold environment. ADA is trying to make this comeback of momentum to the upside. The reason why it's significant is because we've looked at the last time ADA has made a move like this on the zoomed in, right? We've kind of saw a move like this in November, but more specifically in October when that 20-day moving average was broken. So October 22nd. Now let's go look at this weekly chart and let's look at, well, where was ADA on the stock RSI? It was actually still in this downtrend of momentum in October of 2022, right? So downtrend of momentum, but this time around, as we're getting this more zoomed in move to the upside, you can see ADA is actually on its way up in momentum on this stock RSI, the quicker moving momentum oscillator. And all the while, if we open up the actual weekly chart, you can just see, just so far at least, there's still 4 days, 10 hours left, but a nice green candle for ADA. The big resistance, the really big resistance sitting at 36 cents on the weekly. That big resistance is that macro area, and that is the 20-week moving average in green. It's right around 36 cents. That is the area where if ADA is able to break above that, get some solid separation above that, then that could be a more macro bullish confirmation. But again, we are still ways away from that. We're looking at another 30+% before ADA even tests that area. We've seen what happens at that area throughout this entire bear market. It has been a story of resistance. That's the area we're shooting for. And it really does all start here on these 6-hour charts. And I know it can be grueling just tracking these zoomed in charts, all these fake outs, these moves to the upside. It gets exciting to watch some zoomed in 6-hour green candles, and you can see it there. But at the end of the day, I'm sitting here, I'm being cautious. I'm remembering where we are in this bear market. I'm remembering the bigger picture. I think we're getting very, very close to the bottom of this bear market. And it's just a matter of getting those zoomed in confirmations that kind of overlap with those zoomed out confirmations. And that's what I'm tracking here on this YouTube channel. If you got any value from that, please hit that like button, everybody. Subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Let me know your thoughts below in the comments. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.